You're listening to Change Your POV Podcast, episode 31. So you will definitely get everything you need. So regardless of what your best friend that's already gone through basic tells you, because they're going to tell you a bunch of shit just to kind of mess with you, don't bring anything with you.
Welcome to Change Your POV Podcast, helping you navigate transitions in your life, like entering and exiting college or the military, changing jobs or careers, and providing you with the coaching and mentorship needed to help you advance in your personal or professional life. Sometimes all you need is to change your point of view. Now, here's your host, Eddie Lazary.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us for yet another episode of Change Your POV Podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Lazary. I'm here with Bennett Tanton, and this week is our weekly engagement. We're going to change it up a little bit. In the next 4 weeks, we're going to have, in the next 3 months, we're going to have, each month is going to be a separate main topic, and within that main topic, each week, we're going to cover a subtopic. For example, now, if you're listening to this in the future, and you're just a binge podcast listener, then you can crank right through all of these. But for those of you that are listening real time, beginning the month of March, our March, 4 weeks in March, our main topic is going to be pre-military. So each week we're going to cover topics for those of you that are thinking about entering the military, or you know you are going to be entering the military and you want some ideas or insights, maybe some things that you're not going to hear from your recruiter or anything else that you might be able to find online. We are going to help you with that. So in the month of March, all 4 episodes or all 4 weeks, we're going to cover different topics. And for example, the first topic we're going to cover, which is tonight's episode, is going to be preparation. In week 2, we're going to cover knowledge, what you need to know before you go. In week 3, we're going to cover physical preparation, what you need to make sure your body can do before you get to basic or boot camp. And then week 4, we're going to cover expectations. In April, we're going to cover 4 episodes. That the main topic is going to be serving military. For those of you that are in the military, those 4 weeks are going to be specially for you. And then our May our May block of 4 weeks is going to be post-military. So basically, we've got pre-military, current serving military, and post-military. So March, April, and May. And for those of you listening in the future, you don't care about months, that's cool too. But so basically, the next 12 weeks is going to be covered some really, really good material. We're also going to change up the format a little bit, and we're going to condense this down into 30-minute consumable blocks, very high dense. We might go fast. That's okay. It's a recording, so you can go back, take notes. I'll capture everything in the show notes for each of the episodes as well. But before we get going, I've got to give a shout out to our sponsor. This week, we are sponsored by Audible.com. Audible is the premier provider of digital audiobooks. Audible has over 180,000 titles to choose from in every genre, like thrillers, business, romance, comedy, sci-fi, and much, much more. Audible titles play on iPhone, Kindle, and your cell phone.
And my cell phone.
Android, and more than 500 other devices that you can listen to at any time. Now, if you're curious about what I listen to Audible all the time, and right now I'm reading a book. Well, I say reading, but I'm actually listening to it. I'm listening to a book. The title of the book is called Ask, A-S-K, Ask, and it's by Ryan Levesque. Now, this book is really, really cool. Talk about changing your perspective. The counterintuitive online formula to discover exactly what your customers want to buy, create a mass of raving fans, and take any business to the next level. So you could go over to changeyourpov.com/free book, and you can sign up for a 30-day free trial and a free download. So you can go and download this book right now if you want to. Again, that's changeyourpov.com/free book. Head on over there, sign up for your 30-day free trial and your free book, and you can grab the book Ask by Ryan Levesque. It's an excellent book. All right, with that said, are you all set there, Bennett?
I am actually. I'm on the phone with Michael Penny too. How funny is that?
Oh, okay. For those listeners out there, Michael Penny is the host of Cigars and Sea Stories, an excellent podcast if you've never heard that one before. And they're just a bunch of crazy Marines that sit around and tell sea stories. And they bring on guests and interview them. And they were brave enough to bring me on. I'm not sure why they did, but they did. It was a lot of fun. All right, so we are going to kick this thing off. So the topic again, or the subtopic, is preparation for pre-military folks. So the first thing, I got a list of things here, Ben. I'm not sure which ones you want to cover, but I'll just take it off the top here. So let's talk about personal belongings. So those of you that are joining the military, you're living at home with mom and dad or whatever, maybe with uncle, grandparents, wherever you're living, you've accumulated over your 17, 18 years of life, you've accumulated a bunch of stuff. Now that stuff includes clothes, who knows, instruments, computers, television. I don't know, maybe your parents are going to let you keep all those things once you leave the house, and maybe they are going to reclaim that and sell it and try to turn a profit off your ass. I'm not quite sure how that works in your house, but you got stuff, right? So I guess, I don't know about you, Bennett, but the recruiter never sat down with me and said, all right, let's talk about all your underwears and socks and shit that you're not going to bring, right? They don't care about that. They just want you. They want you in basic, and they want you in boot camp, and they want you, and they don't give a shit about what you leave home. So let's talk about that quickly. What do you do with your stuff? What did you do with your stuff?
Well, I was lucky in the fact that my mom wasn't going anywhere.
Okay.
So
you.
So I just left my shit in place.
So for how long?
Until I got done with boot camp. And then when I came back, I packed up some of the stuff, like my civilian clothes and all that shit.
Yeah.
Or at least a lot of it. And then, I think I had like my stereo and a couple other things that I ended up taking with me,
Yeah.
The first time I came home. And then, it was a little shit here and there. And then sooner or later, my room got turned into a fucking office, basically.
Yeah, every room does, right?
So, my stuff just kind of like melted into the nether. And other than the shit I took with me, which wasn't a lot.
Well, it isn't a lot.
No, it wasn't a lot, because at the end of the day, I don't need that shit.
Exactly.
And I sure as hell didn't have the room for it. So
right. Yeah, so if you're going to go off to the military, so let's be perfectly honest here. You're not going to bring a lot of your own shit with you. As a matter of fact, you're going to bring none of your shit with you.
Especially when you go to boot camp. Don't fucking do it. Other than the possible like little packing list that they might give you, but at the end of the day, they give you everything you need.
Yeah, they do.
If I remember correctly, but
they give you everything.
That was like 24 years ago for me. So,
well, they not only give you everything you need, but anything they don't give you that they expect you to buy, they march your ass to the nearest PX to give you a list of shit. You stick it into a little shopping cart, little basket,
right,
and they ring you up and they deduct it from your first paycheck.
Yes.
So you will definitely get everything you need. So regardless of what your best friend that's already gone through basic tells you, because they're going to tell you a bunch of shit just to kind of mess with you.
Fuck with
don't bring anything with you. So when I left, I went to basic, and then I went to AIT, and then I don't even remember coming home after AIT. I might have, I don't recall. And then I went off to my duty station. Right, my first duty station was in Texas. My home of record, where I joined the Army out of, was in Nevada, quite a big distance. It's not like I was going home on the weekends, right? And my stuff, just like you said, melted away into the Netherlands. Like, finally, I think it was like a few years later, my mom's like, "What do you want me to do with all your stuff?" And I'm like, by that point, I'm like, I'd either rebought things that I really wanted, or I didn't even know. So a lot of that shit just got tossed, and some of it I may have wanted to keep, some of it I really didn't care. So that's what we're talking about today. Figure out what you're going to do with your personal belongings, clothes, your stereo, your TV, some of that stuff you're going to want to go home after basic boot. and grab and bring back to your duty station. But a lot of it, I'm be honest with you, a lot of it you're just, I mean, the great big fat head on the wall, right, of your favorite football player, you're probably not going to take with you to your permanent duty station. I'm just saying. You
You're
might,
not taking shit.
you might, but you know, like all those football, basketball, and baseball trophies that you earned growing up,
Well, see,
like
like
you,
back in the day, I had like I think all that I really took like of actual stuff was
yeah.
a stereo and like CDs because this was before you had MP3 players and shit.
I thought you had eight. I thought you had eight track back
Yeah,
then.
your shit's funny. Now, we had I still had we had CDs. Maybe I can't remember if we still used cassette tapes or not.
Hmm.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we would because we'd make mixtapes and shit. Because you
The-
really didn't have the CD recording equipment. That shit was
right.
expensive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you would make like mixtapes.
Did you make mixtapes for your drill sergeants?
No,
No, hell no.
hell no.
All right, so let's be honest, right? If you're kind of a big boy or big girl, um, you're gonna go off the basic in AIT, and something strange is gonna happen to your body. It's going to slim down. Yeah, you're gonna become leaner. You're gonna end up doing a lot of physical training. Your body composition is going to change. Likewise, if you're a little skinny rod like I was, I think it was 130 pounds, dripping,
Jeez.
soaking wet. Yeah, you're gonna eat good, really, really good, and you're gonna put on some pounds. So the chances of your clothes that you left home fitting you when you're done with basic and AIT, unless you wear just extremely obnoxious, crazy baggy clothes or whatever, are probably not going to fit you all that well.
Yeah, I
Um,
know mine were I don't know, most of mine fit pretty well, but when I graduated boot camp, I remember the last weigh-in that we did, I weighed 192
mm,
and I was jacked. You know what I mean? And I was running like sub 18-minute 3 miler, the whole thing. So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and I don't remember, I don't remember if I lost a bunch of weight while I was there, if I gained weight, I don't remember. But all I know is I weighed 192. I remember that.
I know I gained weight because I could not fit into my skinny jeans when I got back.
Right. Right.
So think about the clothes. I mean, the clothes you absolutely want to keep, right, are going to be like your everyday clothes, like your sweats, your sweatshirts, your hoodies, socks, underwear. Those kinds of things you're going to want to keep. But be honest with you, you're going to end up rebuying a lot of what we call civilian clothes or clothes that you're going to wear when you're not in uniform. And to be honest with you, you're not spending a whole lot of time out of uniform. At
No.
least in my experience,
But
I did.
but I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it right now. Please, please, guys, mainly guys, go out and buy real clothes.
Yes.
Don't wear your freaking green or tan or whatever the hell color t-shirt from freaking you know, cash sales that you get issued or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't wear your web belt. Don't wear that shit. Don't wear boots. Don't wear any of that shit. Go out and buy real clothes to wear with your jeans.
Yep.
Because so many times you see guys, they like wear their boots and then they have jeans and then they wear like, just come on.
Yeah. And then
Wear real civilian clothes for God's
yeah.
sakes.
Well, somebody downrange, right? Or we call it downrange. It's outside the gate or outside the base or whatever. Somebody downrange is going to spot you wearing mixed match uniforms with civilian clothes, and they're going to snatch your ass right up off your feet
Mm.
and just make an example out of your ass. So you're right. Go buy yourself some good shoes. I mean, get some good clothes. Get some clothes that are going to
Yeah, you're
last you
gonna
for a
have the
while.
money to do it. Stop being a
Yeah.
cheap bastard
That's
and
right.
fucking
So what
just
do you do
do it.
with your so what do we do with our old clothes that we are not going to take with us then? We just leave it. You leave it in your room for mom to
Either leave
take
it
care
for
of?
mom to take care of or go like throw them away or donate them. Donate them.
Yeah.
That's what you should
Take
do. Try to
here's
donate
here's
that shit.
take care of your own shit. Don't leave that for mom to pick up and clean up because I mean, put yourself in her shoes, right?
Be a man
It's hard
and do it.
yeah, it's hard enough as it is because, this precious person that she just gave birth to and raised for the last 18 years is now leaving home, right? The whole empty nest thing. You're leaving home, and now you're leaving it up to her to pack up and do something with all your shit, right? Be a man, be a woman, grow up. You're an adult now. Take care of your own stuff and explain to your mom, like, Mom, I'm not anxious to leave here, but I don't think it's right that I leave it all for you to do while I'm gone. So yeah, take it down to Goodwill, or they got these closed drop-off boxes all over the place now.
That's right.
Yeah, just donate it. I say donate it because your clothes are probably good clothes and can be used or worn by people less fortunate than you. Don't just toss it, donate it, right?
That's right. That's what I would do.
All right, so here's some things. If you're going to store your stuff, right, if you're going to store it for a period of time, again, this is something you should be taking care of. I highly recommend, those vacuum seal bags.
Mm-hmm.
You stick some clothes in there and you stick a vacuum to it and you suck out all the air, whatever.
Space bags or whatever the heck
Yeah,
they call
space
them.
bags. Yeah, go down to Walmart or Amazon or wherever you get it, right, and grab yourself different sizes space bags and get some of those plastic Rubbermaid totes, right? And pack up your shit. Put your put your trophies and your medals away, all the stuff you had on your walls, like get your stuff prepared, because let's be honest, you're now starting your new life. And your life isn't moving back in with mom and dad and living in the basement until you're 50 years old. You're going to be moving from base to base, from post to post, from ship to ship, whatever you're going to do. But your life, as you know it, back home has come to an end. You've turned that chapter in your life, and it's time for you to move on. So think about how you're going to store it. Things that you want to keep for long periods of time, store it away, stick it in the basement, or even get yourself a rental storage container or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
and store it away. And then the first opportunity you get to go home for vacation or whatever, then you can grab that stuff and bring it back to wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Next thing is vehicles. So a lot of us high school kids may or may not have vehicles. Maybe as a vehicle that's it's really your parents' vehicle and you're borrowing it, or perhaps you're lucky enough to work through high school and earn enough money, buy your own vehicle, or maybe somebody was just generous enough to be able to buy you your own vehicle. So many of you have a vehicle. So what do you do with a vehicle while you're gone, Bennett?
Well, I didn't have my own vehicle, so I just left it for my mother, but because it was her car.
Yeah.
But I had other buddies who either just stored it with their parents or at a friend's house or whatnot. Or I had a bunch of buddies sell their vehicles.
Yeah.
'Cause they're like, well, this thing's a piece of shit, and they're not really going to get to use it for the first 6 months that they're in anyway. So they were like, fuck it, I'll either sell it or had their parents sell it, help them out and sell it or whatever. But
yeah,
I've seen both done, sell, store.
Yeah. So the underlining plan there is to have a plan, figure out what you're going to do with
Correct.
it. Some people, you may want to store it while you go through basic and AIT and then go home and drive it to your permanent duty station. But depending on what branch you join, let's say you're in the Navy and your permanent duty station is out in, I don't know, Washington State somewhere, who knows? You might end up getting out there and, a month or two later, end up on ship out to sea for 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So now you got this vehicle that sat for a couple months while you went through basic or boot and AIT, and now you're driving it out there, and now you're letting it sit some more. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what your job is, what your skill set is. I mean, some AITs now, for those of you who don't know, AIT is Advanced Individual Training. So everyone goes through some sort of basic training or boot camp. That's your initial indoctrination into the military. And that's pretty generalized for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you go through that boot camp, whatever it is, 8 weeks or whatever it is, then you're going to go off to your individual, whatever your MOS is, your military occupational specialty. That's your MOS. That's the job that you signed up for. So maybe you signed up to be a tanker or an infantryman or, close air support, or a forward observer, or a fueler or a cook or a pilot or whatever that, a submariner or, whatever it is you sign up to be in the military, you have to go to some specific training. And depending on what that training is, or depending what your MOS is, your training may vary in length. Like there was one guy I went to basic training with. His MOS was a linguist, so he actually had to go to, I wanted to say it was down in the DC area where language schools were, and his AIT was like 9 months long, right? So he did a couple of
Right.
months in basic, and then he had to go learn another language for another. So your training, your all in all, your basic and AIT is going to vary in length depending on your job.
Right. Yeah,
So
and
that's
I
something to
know that
consider.
we couldn't do shit. We couldn't even rent a car, even for Liberty, whatever.
Yeah.
Even if we had the weekend off in
Mm.
SOI, we couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
Not that we followed those rules necessarily,
Yeah.
but don't get caught.
So if you're gonna store a car, make sure you know how to store it, right? It's simple. You disconnect the battery, you put some fuel additive in the gas tank, you make sure that you don't have any oil drips or leaks or whatever, and if you do, you put an oil pan or a drip pan underneath there to collect it. Perhaps you get perhaps you get a jack and you jack up the car a little bit to get the pressure off your tires so you don't so you don't bald or flatten one
Hmm.
side of your tires from sitting for too long. So there's a proper way to store your vehicle. Use those recommendations I just gave you, or get with a mechanic in your area and say, hey, I've got to store my vehicle for an extended period of time. What do you recommend I do to properly store this vehicle? And then find out, make sure that is it stored in a location where you can keep it for a long period of time. Do you have to keep up with registration? Do you have to keep up with insurance, right? On all of those things. And contact your insurance agency and your registration office and your local offices to figure out what the legality issues there are. So it doesn't take a lot to do, but it's definitely something you should think about. All right, moving right along, the next thing we're going to talk about is bills. So those are 17, 18,
Hmm.
19-year-old. You probably have accumulated some credit cards of your own by now.
Maybe,
Perhaps,
maybe not.
maybe not,
If
right?
you're not a well, anyway, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that shit. Not at that age. Don't ruin
Yeah,
your life yet.
right. But perhaps you do. Maybe you've got some, maybe you're paying on a card that you want to keep that you're going to store, and you've got a bill there, or
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
or whatever the case may be.
Cell
You may
phone,
have.
shit like that.
There you go. Cell phones. Maybe mom and dad are buying or still paying for your cell phone,
Car
but
insurance.
yeah, car insurance. So figure out what your bills are, the bills that are in your name, and figure out what are you using that's in somebody
Yeah,
else's name. So
don't
if
be
you,
a dick and just leave them. Do something about them.
yes, exactly. And so, if you do have credit cards, right? So there's some things you can do. There's some options. This is what I did. I did have some credit cards before I left. And I contacted the credit card company and I told them that I recently joined the military and I was heading off to basic training AIT for X number of days, months, whatever it is. And I asked them if they could put my credit card on hold. And basically, what that means is, and if your credit card company agrees to this, if they put your account on hold, what it means is for a designated period of time, they will waive all fees associated with your account, and you won't have to make a minimum payment for that period of time. Now, the caveat to that was as long as I didn't spend anything on it either, right? So it was basically the card had to stay in limbo. I couldn't use
Right.
it, but I didn't have to pay on it either, and I didn't
Hmm.
incur any service fees. So definitely look at doing that, especially. But then again, maybe you want to take that time in basic and EIT to use the money you're going to make to pay off some of those credit cards while you're in or while you're at basic and EIT. But if that's the case, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to pay your bills. It's not like Drill Sergeant Smith is going to let you go hop on the computer and make your credit card payment. It's not going to happen. Somebody is going to have to make those payments on your behalf.
Hmm.
So that brings us to our next point, and that's power of attorney. Your recruiter is going to talk to you about making sure you understand who is going to be put on your life insurance policy. So when you go in and you sign the dotted line, they're going to want to know who your next of kin is. They're going to want to know basically if something were to happen to you, where would the benefits your military benefits go to? So if you go off to war and God forbid you're killed in action, you got those military benefits. Who are those benefits going to go to? So that's the legal documentation that you're required to fill out. That's what your recruiter is going to have you fill out probably at the MEP station. But what you should also consider is a power of attorney. Now, there's different levels of powers of attorney you can get. There's a limited power of attorney that basically says this specific person has the power to do X. It's a specific thing. Then there's also called a general power of attorney. That's when you say, I grant this person to do whatever they need to do on my behalf, right?
Which is
So
just a little fucking scary.
yeah, so be very, very cognizant of the types of power of attorney and who you're giving it to. If it's somebody that you trust, that's maybe you trust your mom, with everything, and you give her a general power of attorney. That gives her the ability to sell your car without your permission. That gives her the ability to cancel your credit cards without your permission. That gives her the ability to make payments on your behalf. That gives her basically the power to do anything on your behalf in your absence. If you give her a limited power of attorney and say you have the ability to make my credit card payments only, then that's the only power that your mom will be granted, is the ability to make your payments on your behalf,
Right.
or cancel your credit cards or something like that. But I highly recommend getting a power of attorney so people on the outside have the ability to act on your behalf to take care of some things for you while you're on the inside, right? Make it sound like you're off going to prison or something. That's not the case. All right, so the next one is high school. So if you're in high school, perhaps you did the delayed entry program where you joined maybe your junior year. You went to MEPS, you did the ASFAB, all that. And some guys and gals even go off to basic training that summer between their junior and senior year, and then come home, finish their senior year, and then go off to their AIT or something like that. That's definitely an option. I personally wouldn't like to do that. I wouldn't split that up, and the reason why is because you get into that routine of physical training and physical exercise. It's nice to keep that ball rolling. If you go off to basic that summer, between your junior senior year, and then you come home and you don't keep up that physical activity on your own, then your AIT is going to be very painful for you to get back in the groove. That's just some insight there for you.
Absolutely.
But you got to keep up with your high school's transcripts. Just because you signed a dotted line and you belong technically to Uncle Sam doesn't mean that you don't have to finish high school and get that diploma. You still have that's a contingent agreement between you and the military. Is you are joining the military as long as you still successfully complete high school. So if you do something stupid, you drop out, you don't get that degree, then that's it. I mean, you're not going off to the military. So you got to focus on school all the way through the end, all the way through completion. And you know what? Be careful. Don't be stupid and do something dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I got into an accident. I originally enlisted as a military police. I got into an accident. It was deemed my fault. I had to pay restitution. I actually got arrested. I was released on my own recognizance after the sheriff gave my mom a tour of the jail, and she came back, thought it was the greatest thing ever. I was pissed because I sat for like 4 hours in the holding cell.
Shit.
But but anyway, because of that instance, I had to go back and change my MOS to something else because I no longer qualified to be a military police after having a record.
What a dick.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm glad though. I'm much happier as a forward observer than I would have been as a military police.
Yeah, it's a way cooler job.
Hell yeah.
Freaking.
Even though I thought I was going to be a firefighter, but that's a whole nother story.
Oh my God. No thanks.
All right. So we're wrapping up here, but we're gonna cover briefly, real quick. So talk about we're gonna recap. So personal belongings, it's your responsibility. Don't leave it for somebody else to do it. Figure out what you're gonna do with your clothes. Chances are you're probably not gonna fit into them anyway. Donate them. Goodwill, Dropbox. Put them to good use.
Or at
Don't
least
just
put them away so your parents don't have to.
Yeah, put them away. Make
Put
sure
them
they're
in a
clean.
tub, something.
Yeah, don't
Your
stick all your
nasty
dirty
fucking skivvies on the floor for mom.
stick all your dirty clothes, stuff all your dirty clothes in like a hamper and stick it in your closet and leave it there for 4 months.
Oh, fuck. Shit growing on him.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, man.
And get yourself some vacuum seal bags, some plastic Rubbermaid totes. Maybe throw some mothballs in there to keep the old bugs away from it or whatever, depending on where you live. And figure out what you're going to do with your vehicle. Are you going to sell it? Are you going to keep it? You're going to store it? If you are going to store it, make sure you know how to store it and what type of insurance registration you need to keep on it, if any. Figure out what you're going to do with your bills. You're going to pay them off. You're going to have somebody pay them.
I highly recommend paying them off.
I do too. Highly. Don't cancel them. Just pay them down to zero balance.
Right,
you're going to need them.
Yeah,
just do it.
If you can.
Right. Get yourself a power of attorney. Understand the differences between the different types, who you're going to give them to. You can't have more than one power of attorney. You can give one person a limited power of attorney to do X, and you can give somebody else.
Especially if you're married. Don't leave your wife hanging like that.
Yeah.
Or husband, whoever's listening. Especially with that and the kids and stuff. Well, I mean, it's a little scary. It can be a little scary, but at least a limited power of attorney. So
yes. Oh, and here's another thing too. A lot of students at this age probably have a joint account with their parents. It's not probably an account you have all to yourself. I highly recommend, tell them, Mom and Dad, thank you for all of your support, but it's time for me to be, big boy and girl here, and I've got to go.
Right.
Go sign up for your own bank account, your own checking account, savings account, whatever the case may be, and because that's the account that you want to give to the recruiter when you fill out the direct deposit. Yep. And then once you have your own account and you've got direct deposit going to that account, then you can give your mom the power of attorney to act on your behalf to access that account. Correct. And finish high school. Make sure you clean that up and get it done, and don't do anything stupid along the way. Your last year, your senior year could be crazy. Make sure you understand what your main goal is, and that's the military once you graduate. So keep that focus. Anything else that we need to cover, Ben?
Quit smoking before you go.
Oh, hell yes. Totally agree.
Tobacco products, all that shit.
Yeah.
Knock it off, because when you go, oh my God, that's it. And do you want to be a freaking in pain the first week you're there? Then go ahead and keep smoking and shit. Because that was me. And motherfucker, that was horrible. Speaking from
experience,
I am. So yeah, not cool.
Yes.
And it's hard enough. Don't get caught freaking quitting at that time too, because you'll be in a bigger world of shit than you went in. So
Yep.
Yeah, man.
That's very, very sound advice. Thank you, sir. I appreciate our first go at pre-military episode 1 of preparation. Thanks for tuning in. This is the conclusion of this episode of Change Your POV. You can find all the show notes and everything we talked about today by going over to changeyourpov.com/episode 31. And again, if you want to take advantage of that free 30-day subscription of Audible and your free Audible download, head on over to changeyourpov.com/free book. All right, until next time.
Thanks for listening to Change Your POV podcast with Eddie Lazary. Check out more content by going to changeyourpov.com. And remember, your ability and willingness to change your point of view will open doors of opportunity.